draw. I will move my deck leader forward. I will activate the spell card known as Gate Guardian Ritual, which I must sacrifice for 11 stars to summon Gate Guardian from my hand or deck, or Labyrinth Gate Guardian. And that ends up on the ritual card that I summoned it on. He doesn't do anything because there's no Labyrinth counters. I will enter my battle phase, attacking your 1900 attack monster. And I will move my Labyrinth Cannon Soldier up one, and yeah, you take, I don't know the exact number, I kind of suck at math, but you know, 19 minus 750, 750. It's an odd number, I know. It's like you gotta find the 50 on this thing. Yeah, that looks about right. Alright. I gotta say, the global chat in this thing is really weird. Okay, so you revive it. It comes back with its full attack because it was not, you know, tribute summoned. And of course you're probably going to attack my monster. Alright, I take 1600 damage. And this goes to the grave, and you take up that spot, basically. I activate Labyrinth Terrain, which will spawn a 1 Labyrinth Terrain card on the zone it was activated on. Feel free to read that. Basically, only monsters that have the special ability can cross through this. It's a dead zone for everything else, which includes your monsters and spells and traps, and your deck leader. My deck leader will, my Gate Guardian will attack your face down card. Alright, I take up that spot. And I guess I'll summon this and end my turn.
These cards are really blurry.
If it helps, a lot of them are very straightforward or well known or classics, like they're vanilla rituals. For example, Magician of Black Chaos is a vanilla ritual. Dark Master Zork, I'll just quickly run you through it. If you roll a 6-sided die, you get to, if it's 1 or 2, you get to destroy all monsters I control. 3, 4, and 5, you destroy 1 monster I control, and 6, destroy all monsters you control. The golden millennium symbol one is, you know, for relinquished, obviously. The generic abyss ritual one, it basically, you can summon any of the ritual ones, but you have to tribute the exact number. It can't be like, or higher. It has to be exact of whatever the ritual you're trying to summon is. The reason these have such a high quality texture is because I artificially made them using Card Maker and used photo editing to give them a much bolder text, as you can clearly see here. Alright. Alright, so you activate Black Illusion Ritual, which allows you to summon Relinquish. I'm just going to move that for you. And of course you're going to take up this monster, so just pick up the
You can equip equip your monster to it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it like this because it acts it's considered an equip. It acts almost like overlaid material, but it can still be MST'd or whatever by normal means, and if it's flipped face down, it still gets, you know, sent to the grave. But otherwise, it doesn't take up your spell and trap limit or anything like that.
Alright.
Yeah, so that's at. I'm just gonna mark this just to remind us that this thing, how much attack it's at for in the meantime. I activate the spell card known as Senate Switch. This card allows me to move a monster to an adjacent unoccupied monster card zone, which in this case happens to include the grid zones. So I can move it to any unoccupied one. And my monster, Labyrinth Shadow Ghoul, it gains 100 attack and defense for each monster. So given what I have here, it has a total of 2k at the moment. Not that that matters right now, or will matter this turn for that matter. I will artificially move it to this adjacent spot, adjacent meaning surrounding, and I will then enter my battle phase and attempt to attack your face down card. And that'll be all. I will draw for turn. I activate the spell card Terraforming, which allows me to grab a field spell. Field spell I'll be grabbing, which I'm gonna likely activate, is Labyrinth World. I'll just put it over here. It each time a Labyrinth monster is summoned, I can place one Labyrinth counter on this. Once per turn, I can remove any number of counters from this card to place one Labyrinth terrain adjacent to a Labyrinth monster I control for every 4 counters removed. So I basically have to have 4 counters, and around whatever Labyrinth monsters I have, I can spawn up to that number. So I will be moving my deck leader here. I will use the effect of Senate Switch to move this here. I will then, using Labyrinth Shadow Ghoul's move, I will move it over here and pass my turn. By the way, you also have a Senate Switch in your deck, so you get to use that if you get a copy, and that will greatly assist you. now we get to have some fun. Now, this will boost all the... I just need to figure out which one's the dark terrain. This boosts spellcasters and fiends and makes fairies decreased by... Okay, it's 4. I just have to change all these terrain accordingly. Oh, wrong button. Oop. Yeah, just put that in the grave. I'm just... If you click on a tile and press 4, it will change it. So these are all... Now your relinquished can move in 4 directions. If you make a move during your battle phase, you can move 2 squares from there. And it's also temporarily boosted to... Okay, so that's where you want to move.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. I draw for turn. I will move my Labyrinth Shadow Ghoul. I'm actually going to move him here. Then I'm going to use the effect of Senate Switch to move him over here artificially. And that'll be all. Actually, I'll move this here. I didn't click end turn, so... Alright, so you activate the ritual card for Curse of the Masked Beast, which will ultimately summon the Masked Beast. This is at 3,700 attack, and yeah, so, and this was at, let's see, I gotta calculate what my monster was at the time of the attack.
It was at 2k.
It was actually at 21 because your monster got tributed before you did the attack, so 2100 minus 37. That's 1600 damage. I will set this card face down and pass my turn. By the way, you can still attack monsters that are on Labyrinth terrain, but you won't take up their spot. It'll be like your monster basically got pushed off. You gotta hold it more, like, when you do that. Otherwise, if you do it too gently, it sort of slips off. Okay, this is back at 3,200 now that it's not receiving the bonus of the Labyrinth terrain. I set this here. I activate Legacy of Yatagarasu, which will let me draw 1 card. I then will move this one here, and I will normal summon Labyrinth Dungeon Worm, which gives me a counter on my field spell. each time a monster is destroyed, this card will gain 300 attack and defense points. So it's just at 1800 right now. And I will actually use Senate Switch to move it here. Alright, this monster, bear in mind, is at 900 attack because it's a fairy type. Alright, that counts as a hostile move, so you're entering your battle phase. I chain in response to the attacking move, which allows me to draw one card, but you still take up that spot. I draw for turn. I normal summon Labyrinth Cannon Soldier, which gives me a second counter on there. I will then activate the spell card Labyrinth Fusion, and I will be sending Labyrinth Cannon Soldier and Labyrinth Tank to the grave to fusion summon Ultimate Labyrinth Tank. Just put it over here because that's where it's getting summoned. This card will gain 100 attack and defense. Or does it say attack and defense? Yeah, attack and defense for each Labyrinth monster on the field and the grave, bringing us to a total of, it's at 27, 3,500 attack at the moment. Just gonna label that. Okay. I'm going to attack this. This is at its full attack, so you take 2,100 damage from the attack. Then I'm going to use the effect of Senate Switch to move this over here. And then I'm going to move my deck leader out of the way and move this card over here and move this up here. Oh, and when I summoned that, I was supposed to gain another counter. So you activate this here.
Yes.
Alright. Okay. Are you... Oh, yeah. I'll get that for you.
Wait, Zork's effect?
You roll the die over here. Here you go. 5. Destroy all monsters I control. Wow. You got lucky there. I'm just going to stack these together for you. Now, you could have actually from there moved 2 squares, but you already moved 1, so I'm just letting that act as hindsight for you. I don't want to give you... You've already got the upper hand. It would be suicide to my chances to, you know, let you have an undo like that. That would potentially give you the game. I normal summon Labyrinth Cannon Soldier, and I will attempt to attack your face down. Yeah, whatever you summon, it's going to die anyway, so it doesn't matter if you chain to it. I will then use the effect of Labyrinth World to remove the counters to change the terrain of the adjacent one to this. And I will pass my turn. Okay, this is at 1400 attack. Well, actually it'll be at 1900 because of the bonus it gets from the terrain. Alright, so I take 500 damage from that. I will normal summon my monster here. I'll move my deck leader to my left. It's off the table. And pass my turn. Now, before you make any attacking moves, because it'll be off the way it'll move will sort of be like that, it won't get any bonus, so it'll actually have an inferior attack if you were to attack this. It won't keep its bonus because it'll technically be over here when the attack goes through. Draw for turn. move my guy over here. Set this and then move it up. Pass turn.
Zork effect.
You're gonna risk Zork's effect? Oh! You rolled a 6. All your monsters get destroyed. I'm honestly surprised you did that. You had the upper hand over me. I was like, you know, and it was just one monster, so I didn't think it'd be worth it for you to, like, you know, grab myself Labyrinth World with terraforming. Do some math. I'm going to move this forward, and I'm going to activate Call of the Haunted, which will revive myself my Labyrinth Gate Guardian, because it was ritual summoned legitimately. And this gives me 2 Labyrinth counters. Using Senate Switch, I will actually move him over here. Battle phase. Attack. Okay, that just goes to the grave. Oh, no, your ritual card doesn't go to the... No, you can't chain it like that. It's a normal spell. Your ritual doesn't... Yeah. And... pass my turn. That's all. Activate another copy of Senate Switch to artificially move my monster here and move my Labyrinth Gate Guardian here with the other effect. No. And I'll just manually move him over here and pass my turn. I normal summon Labyrinth Dungeon Worm. I use one effect of Senate Switch to move this one over here. I use another effect of Senate Switch to move it over here. I'm going to manually move this one and move my Labyrinth Gate Guardian. Then I'm going to attack your face down. Now we're talking. I'll get that out for you. Yeah, I'll get that out. Yeah, alright. Just flip it around. There you go. Just turn this around. There you go. It's here. Oh! Okay. This is at 70-50, and you attack, so damage will be, just say like 1950. And you take up that spot. I will normally move my monster, then I will use the effect of Senate Switch ×2 to move it over here. And I will pass my turn. So I'm guessing you want to attack that?
Yeah, that's like 1200, so probably a wise move.
Yeah. So I take 900 damage from that, and you take up that spot. Move this here, and then activate Labyrinth terrain. Set this here and pass turn. Just fix that a little. I will move my deck leader over here, and I will activate the trap card Call the Haunted, bringing Labyrinth Shadow Ghoul onto the terrain. Now, while this is in a Labyrinth terrain, I can actually tribute it to special summon Labyrinth Wall Shadow, which essentially gets the ability. It gets 100 attack and defense for each monster in either player's grave, which is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and then. So
you win.
Yeah, I would win at this point, and unless I decided not to attack. But I was gonna remove the counters and then see what you can make do with the situation where I change the terrain to this, the Labyrinth terrain. But yeah, that's pretty much game at that point, because I would be able to... This would be not connected to that card, and I could just use send and switch to attack you directly the next turn. But what would you have drawn? Let's... For the sake of curiosity, if I decide not to attack, what would you have drawn? Just show our audience. Yeah, nothing particularly useful. But yeah, that was actually a pretty close game. You had me bled out quite a lot, and I don't know if that would have been game on its own. It would have definitely been game if I used its ability to switch its attack and defense once per turn, because that would make it like probably well over a 4K beater. As you can see, all the powerful effects in this take time and patience. Like, being able to spawn Labyrinth terrain with this field spell requires that I actually summon monsters and whatnot. Well, that was a good game.
I think UA would be good like this.
Who?